Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, Assalamu alaikum. I want first to congratulate the people who organized this rally in less than 24 hours, and I want to congratulate all of you for braving this inclement weather to raise your voices here against the massacre of Palestinian people once again in Gaza. I want to congratulate those all over this country who over these last days have been in city centers and squares like this, raising their voices. I want to congratulate the people in New York City today, especially the Jewish rabbis and the faithful Jews of Nutera Karta, who have been out demonstrating that Israel and its crimes have nothing to do with Judaism, that Zionism is a blasphemy against Judaism, it's a blasphemy against God, and that when we raise our voices against Israel, against Zionism, it has nothing to do with hatred of Jews. We do not hate Jews. We hate Zionism. We hate Israel. We hate murder and injustice. And that is what we are protesting about. We congratulate the 500 Jews in Israel last night who marched in Tel Aviv against these atrocities that are being carried out by a country which blasphemes against the Torah by describing itself as the Jewish state. There's nothing Jewish about killing women and children in the name of the flag of Israel. I'm going to come back to Israel in a minute, but first I want to concentrate my fire on a target which, if anything, is even more contemptible than those doing the killing, and that is the hyenas of the British media who have been misreporting this massacre day and daily for the last week, who are guilty of crimes against humanity in the way that they are misreporting this crisis. The Bush and Blair Corporation, formerly known as the BBC, which this day on its website published the following: 3 Israelis have been killed by rockets from Gaza, whilst 54 Palestinians have died. Imagine, the 3 comes before the 54, and the 3 were killed. The 54 merely died. Instead of any normal reportage, which would begin with the 54 and would come secondly to the 3, the fact that they put it that way, that they can name the 3 but can't name any of the 54, speaks volumes about the truth in the BBC that Palestinian blood is worth less than the blood of Israelis. That's the truth of it. Sky News, by the way, Mr. Sky News, my phone is still on, you know. My number's still the same, you know. It's the same as it was in 2006 when you interviewed me about the atrocities Israel was committing in Lebanon. My number didn't change. Why haven't you called me? I'll tell you why. Go and look at the tweets in the name of Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Sky News, slavering his support for Israel 20 times a day this week. That's why Sky News haven't interviewed me, because they don't want the watchers, the viewers of Sky News, to hear the truth, and here is the truth. This crisis didn't start when Sky News started reporting it 6 days ago. They want you to concentrate on Hamas rockets. Why are there Hamas rockets being fired from Gaza? Because Gaza has been under siege for 6 years, not 6 days, 6 years, starving their children, murdering their children. Why? Because they voted in a democratic election for a party which Israel and Western countries don't like. They go around the world invading countries and occupying them in the name of democracy. While the Palestinians had democracy, they voted for Hamas. Get used to it. Get over it. Hamas is the elected government of Palestine. That's the truth that you want your people to ignore. They said yesterday that the elected Prime Minister of Gaza, of Palestine, Ismail Haniyeh, who lives in a refugee camp in Gaza with his wife and 13 children, was now a target. Well, I say this to any Israelis that are listening today. If you murder any one of Ismail Haniyeh's children, the vengeance will be terrible and will last forever, because no Palestinian will allow you to kill the children of their Prime Minister with impunity. But on the subject of murdering children, most of you, because you've been here for an hour, will not know the latest atrocity that has been committed. The Galloway family in Gaza have just lost, in the last 2 hours, 7 of their children, 7 children in one family. The Galloway family in Gaza have just been wiped out by an Israeli missile. Their pictures are on Twitter if you want to see them. Their pictures are on Facebook. But the one place their pictures will not be found is on the BBC and on Sky News or in the British newspapers tomorrow morning. Because they're only Arabs, they're only Palestinians, they're only Muslims. But if 7 Americans or 7 British children or 7 Israeli children had just been wiped out, it would be the first item on the news, because Muslim blood is cheap so far as the Western media is concerned. If I sound angry about this, it's because my blood is boiling with rage, not at the Israelis to whom I'm about to turn in a minute. I already knew they were killers. I already knew they were thieves and murderers. But the BBC is paid for by us. Every one of you would go to prison if you didn't pay your BBC license fee. And we have a right to demand that the BBC tells the truth about what's happening in Gaza, instead of lying about it day and daily and every day. Let me turn to the killers themselves. There are rockets, militarily ineffective. There are small arms, Kalashnikovs, in the hands of the Palestinian resistance fighters. And if Israel enters Gaza on foot, they will discover that the Palestinian people will resist them to the last man and will fight them to the last man, to the last drop of Palestinian blood. I warn them now of that. The Palestinian people will never surrender their rights to remain on their land, albeit as refugees. But why is there resistance in Gaza? Because there used to be a country called Palestine, which has been wiped off the map, its people scattered to the 4 winds around the corners of the earth. The lucky ones living here in Bradford, in England, in America as exiles. the unlucky ones living in their millions in refugee camps in the countries alongside Palestine. This country that used to be called Palestine is now called something else. It's now called something else because foreigners came, settlers came from Europe with white faces, backed by the British Empire, and stole their country and changed its name. But you know what? Now the Palestinians are 13 million people, and they will never rest until they go back to Palestine and until the country is called Palestine again. They will never rest until this is achieved. And the British Empire, which was once so vast that the sun upon it never set. But as my Irish grandfather used to say, that's because God would never trust the British in the dark. Little William Hague, our Foreign Secretary, was sending out verbal gunboats in Parliament this week, issuing the British demands that the Palestinian people must surrender, must stop using their weapons to defend themselves. Well, listen up, little Willie Hague. The Palestinians are not listening to you. We speak for the British people, not you, the condemned coalition government. And what about Labour? Yvonne Ridley put it very well. Where are Labour today? Where are the Labour councillors that sit in there? Where are the Labour MPs that are here in Yorkshire, in England, in such number? Where is Ed Miliband? Why hasn't he said a word about the massacre of the Palestinian people? I'll tell you why. Because they're spineless cowards who don't deserve the name Labour. That's what they are. Spineless cowards. Labour friends of Israel, Conservative friends of Israel, Liberal friends of Israel. Well, there are no friends of Israel in respect. There will never be any friends of Israel in respect. I close with this. Words are cheap. Talking is cheap. We've done a lot of talking today. The question is what we're going to do about it. It's been mentioned about Israeli dates on sale in Muslim shops. I won't even waste my breath in the contempt that I feel for any Muslim who could sell products stained with the blood of Palestinian people. I want to concentrate on bigger subjects. You see, the truth is this. Israel is massacring these Palestinian children with American weapons. With our America, there is no Israel. We need to choose emblematic American products and stop buying them. And I'm saying this to you now. Yvonne Ridley said it to you before. Every time you drink a Starbucks coffee, you're donating money to Israel to kill Palestinian children. Every time you drink Coca-Cola, you're donating money to Israel to kill Palestinian children. You have to look at the internet and discover these big companies that are donating their money that they make from you to keep Israel afloat. It's time we got serious about this.